So I'm getting my energy back slowly, and I'm picking some things up around the house, including taking down some of the Christmas decor. And I was getting ready to do something else, which is to get rid of these plants. Now, I wanted to mention, Ben has been taking care of me while I was down and out, and a large part of that was making sure I had about 72 ounces of water a day, got my meds, blah, blah, blah. Well, speaking of water, I forgot to mention to him, would you please water the plants? Now, the tulips would have passed at this point, but when I got out of bed a couple days ago, I walked out to see those in the window, and then I went to get my coffee, and we've got our dead plant here. And then the the lemon cypress is crunchy as crunchy could be. It doesn't look that bad though. So all I have to say is I'm so glad he brought me the water and not the plants, or I might look like this. So right now I'm just going to take down some of the smalls here. I'm waiting for a contractor who builds fencing, and we're going to walk around the property, get the quote for the fence we're going to do out in front of the house that is going to go into the kitchen window for hopefully a future garden. And then we're going to walk around and look at something to maybe hide the big rocket ship size fans for the mini splits, and then something to hide the propane tank, and then down the road, at least they'll be here for measurements, a gate to go here between the two properties. I'm still not thinking right. A gate between the garage and the house. It's kind of like an arch with small gates on either side, but we have to remodel and dig out this whole area for some whole water issue and drainage things. So we're going to be getting quotes first on that landscaping and then putting in a little patio in the backyard. But at least they'll have the measurements on hand and they won't have to come back unless anything changes architecturally on the building. What a mess. This had some live greenery in it and I forgot. Okay, I know where the vacuum is. Okay. All right, I think that's about it. I'm just gonna clean up my mess and I'll put this all away properly later.
This is Sugarwood's year. There are so many changes coming her way, but she's used to it. Let me show you some of her different looks over the years. Let's start with this photo. At one point, she had no roof over the front door, her regular colored chimney. There was a little attachment between the house and another addition. But then she got a roof over the front door and had two buildings attached to her. One or possibly both buildings are believed to have come from the property higher on a hill, and I found that in some old records. And then, miraculously, the roof over the front door was taken off and two dormers were added. And then the two buildings became one, but there's still that little drop-down attachment from the old house to the addition. And there's an arched door there, became a side entrance, and also where they used to keep their wood. A couple owners later, Sugarwood ended up getting an addition to her property. On the far left, she got a brand new sunroom that had long windows that went almost from ceiling to floor. And the chimneys were painted white and black. And look, no dormers. They took off the dormers. Why did they take off the dormers? The full-length windows were then replaced in the left wing with standard size windows, and it was converted from a sunroom to a bedroom. And this is what Sugarwood looked like when we purchased it. For 2 years, we did a lot inside and outside, including adding 2 windows to the end of the house so that we could enjoy the eastern sunlight coming up over the hill while we're sitting in the kitchen. And the new kitchen, we added a larger window over the sink. In this photo, it's still the smaller window, but this is when we owned it for a couple of years. And then this window is now the larger window in this video. In a moment, I am going to share a couple of other things we did outside, but I want to show you something. Just recently, actually about a week ago from this video, a new photo surfaced at the Historic Society that might be Sugarwood from around 1860, before remodeling and a transom and things to update it. And I'm going to show you kind of my little morphing here, and then I'm going to share why I think this is highly possible. Now keep in mind, while doing research on this house, my daughter and I did find out in the backyard a lot of burnt items, including shoes and wood and nails, and even a little shoe form that I have right here. Now in the 1860 census, a new resident moved in. He was a shoemaker, and there was a 1- and a 5-year-old in the house. Now, in the photo, we have said child, and if the barn did burn, it could be what my daughter and I found very close to the house on the other side of a wall with all the shoes and everything else that a shoemaker would have. And this little bump out here, I know enough about construction in old homes to know that they easily could have put another roof line and connected that little, possibly the loo, possibly the outhouse, and just attach that, which could be the little drop down, that little extension that connects the old house to the new that I kept pointing out in previous videos. That's where my thoughts are going. I'm going to do more research, but unless another house shows up in this town that is definitely theirs, I'm going to say this is Sugarwood from 1860. Okay, so if I didn't totally bore you and lose you when it came to that old house geeky stuff, I want to share some more information about what we're going to be doing in 2025 and some things that we've done. Now, old records have called our home and property a farm, a mini country estate, a cottage, and a summer home. Since we purchased the property, our plans have always been to revive this little mini country estate into a refined yet quaint colonial farm cottage decorated in my signature Grand Union style. And I do want to clarify something. When I say colonial, that doesn't mean her style. That's talking about her age. She was built in the colonial era, but her style is a full cape. And what classifies her as a cottage is the 1.5 stories. Now let's talk about just a few of the things we've done outside and more things that will be happening in 2025 to reach our goal. This enclosed porch was added to the back of the house anywhere between 1950s to 1970s, and it was a bit too rustic for my vision. So while we had contractors at the house, I asked them to put up more clapboards and redo the arches, and now I have that little refined look I was looking for. The patio is now all wavy and sinkholes, but we'll need to address that probably in 2026 when we do the side walkway as well. Speaking of walkway, do you remember this wavy walkway that was just laid on top of some landscape fabric? Yeah, well, that's what happens when you do that when you have frost heaves here in New England. But after about 1.5 years, we put a new walkway in, and it is so much nicer walking from the driveway to the front door this way. And for those who keep asking if we're removing the boxwood from the front, yes, we will be, but not until everything else is done and everything else is planted and mature. Then we'll tackle the front of the house. We removed some of the hard to manage trees from under the kitchen window and it looks bare. But there's something that's going to be happening. I'm designing a custom fence to enclose a kitchen garden for our herbs and cutting flowers. My hopes are the fence will go past the second window, but we have to see if the well pump is in the way of a post or not. And then I envision adding some beautiful hydrangeas to the outside of the fence. And then I also envision a trellis going up next to the kitchen window with either sweet peas or little fairy roses that when I open up a window, I can smell them through the kitchen. Now let's go back to talking barns, and I promise I have a reason for sharing this information. Now, I know for a fact that this barn was part of Sugarwood. We have a very large carriage house and a very large barn, and we believe that it may have come down in the hurricane of 1938. Once again, more changes. Then a past owner put in a built-in pool. Then poof, the pool is gone because of another owner. Well, now it's our turn to make some really big changes to Sugarwood's property, and I mean that pun intended. We have decided, and we have pulled the trigger, signed the contract. We are building a new 32 by 40 post and beam barn, and it's going to be right about here in the backyard, and it's going to take most of the year to build. It's a small group, and they build it on site. And the funny thing is, not really funny, we're going back to the original plan of what we had in July 2022, and this is the thumbnail I shared in that video from 2022. This is kind of a rough idea of what the barn will look like. We're going to have transom windows over the sliding barn doors, windows on either side, and this is the plan that we're going to be working from. An architect is redrawing it, but it is going to be a large building on this property, but we're going to be able to have the old Ford in there and our equipment, Ben's office upstairs, and I'll be able to have Thanksgivings and Christmas out there if I'd like at big tables. We're talking about putting an old-fashioned wood cook stove in there, so it's something that is fulfilling Ben's dream, and I'm so excited it's finally getting done. I can hear some of you asking me, what about the garage plans you had drawn up and we're going to do that? Well, we loved the plans. We loved the idea. What we didn't love was the $1 million quote that came in for a garage with an addition. Nay, nay. Now, since the backyard is going to be overtaken by a crew for most of the year, I'm going to be working inside and on the inner gardens. In the bedroom, I've created a little idea here for some nice flowy window treatments and rods and a new carpet that I already know what I'm looking for. And then there's still several rooms in our house I have never touched, and some of them are 20 plus years old. Now in February, we have somebody coming to tear out wallpaper and do some painting for me. I haven't shown this room. This is the second floor bathroom, and it's got its original tile, and this wallpaper is fish everywhere. It's peeling, and it just never did anything for me. And I was always focused on working downstairs. And, oh gosh, that was so satisfying to pull, but I'm holding back. I was always working downstairs. I never got to do anything upstairs. So this is going to get a nice neutral color so that when I come across just the right wallpaper, I can pull the trigger, but I won't be looking at fish anymore. Bye-bye, fishies. Emma's bedroom will finally be getting a makeover too. I'm looking forward to giving her a space that is a little more feminine and girly, but also we can use it as a second guest bedroom. And Ben is using this for his office on the other side of the room, which I'm not going to show that. Another room I've never touched, other than fitting our poster bed in there, which also is too tall for these ceilings. For some reason, there's a step up into this room. I haven't figured it out. But This room is getting neutralized also. We're getting rid of this gold paint and it has gray trim, and I'm just going to have neutral colors brought in so that I'm starting with a fresh palette. And then I'm thinking about putting 2 twin beds in here. I'm not sure yet. And yes, that's a sheet over the window. I was trying something to see if I like an idea if I decide to keep a queen size bed in here. And now for a little update on our year together for 2025. Along with the many other New Englanders during our long winter months, I'm embracing this time inside of our home, and it's my own little cocoon. I'm allowing this time to let my body and soul heal from a very busy but very wonderful 2024. As you just saw, I'm already making plans for 2025, and I'm getting ready to spread my wings once again once the warmer weather arrives. Speaking of wings, some of the hallucinations I had while I was ill seemed so real. One such hallucination was hearing the fluttering wings of the fairy ornaments on our bedroom Christmas tree. Yep, and it gets better. These fairies took flight and started flying happily around the room and around me, and I could hear them giggling as if they were trying to cheer me up. It's kind of amazing how the brain works. That said, I am so excited about the things we will be doing together in 2025, and I'm looking forward to taking you out shopping around New England as I look for things to complete the projects in our home and decorate several of the untouched rooms in our home. I'm also looking forward to getting back to the Swedish death cleaning that I started before I got ill. If you haven't heard of it, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's just a way of clearing the clutter and organizing your home so that loved ones don't have to do it if and when the time comes. I will explain more later next week, but being ill, I kind of get it now. I'm going to make it a priority, which will take months to complete, but this year it's going to take a lot of mandatory changes for me. I allowed myself to believe I was living in the moment and slowing down, but looking back, starting midsummer, I was working about 80 hours a week until the second week of November. Shame on me. But I was too busy to listen. Some of you may have seen my heart monitor on in several of the videos. That was when my body started to say, okay, you stubborn woman, you asked for it. I'm making you slow down for the new year, whether you like it or not. I don't feel the need to go into sharing everything that has been happening, but I was slammed with a few different physical complications within my body, including a not so common infection that, let's just say, my doctor pretty much said I need to write off the rest of January now that the antibiotics have taken over. And I pretty much know I'm going to have to be slow in February too. But honestly, I'm looking forward to it. And at the risk of sounding selfish, I need it. Now, what does this mean for new videos? Don't worry, I am not going anywhere. But for a while, my schedule might have to be a bit erratic. I honestly don't have a plan. It could just mean shorter videos each Sunday. It could mean every other week. You might even see me midweek with a short video. I really don't know at this point, but that's okay. I got you covered. When I know a video will be going live, I will let you know through the community tab on my channel, just like I did when I knew I wasn't going to be able to post the past 2 videos. Now, if you're a subscriber and you've already clicked the notification bell, you might be able to skip this whole step. All you need to do is go to my YouTube channel page, and there's a little community tab right here that I'm clicking on. And that takes you to comments that I leave, and you can leave a comment back. Now, once again, if you're a subscriber and you have the bell notification button hit, I think you get notices when I post something there, but I'm not sure. If you're wondering where I am, if it's a Sunday and I'm not here, just come on over to the community page, and I will most likely mention when and if a video is going to be posted. And regarding the online shop, I have some great plans for that. It's going through a remodel. It's getting a new name change. We have new products coming in for summer, and I'm looking forward to introducing you to the new page. And the new store name will be Threshold and Gate. Now, my apologies for the long-winded video, and for a while it might be what I have to do is voiceovers, but I just have to say I am feeling grateful. It's one of the reasons we moved here, for me to slow down and share the journey of slow, fine living with you. So please do as I say and not as I do. That said, I'm very excited to share the changes both here at Sugarwood and the changes I will be going through myself this year. And as I've done since childhood, I'm excited to embrace the winter months as a time to enjoy my pseudo-hibernation in and around our home. My wishing to skip ahead a month or two to better weather is like wishing precious life days away. Why would I do that? So now I'm going to enjoy my first real walk in the woods in about 3 weeks, I would say, and enjoy a quiet stroll with my amazing husband who cared for me and with Willow who snuggled with me while the fresh snow silently falls around us. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you very soon. Bye now.